It's about to be a long video. Blessings, beautiful people. My name is Abril, your resident herbalist, and welcome back to my channel, Beauty, Herbs, and Tea. We talk about all things tea, herbs, and resources to help you start your herbal business right now. So today's video is going to be a long one, and it's mainly because I am coming to you with Herbalism Books. As promised from the last video, as promised, I am coming back to you with a book list of Indigenous Herbalism books to help you get started on your herbalism learning journey, your Indigenous Herbalism learning journey. And y'all, I already posted a reel to Instagram with these books and it went viral, okay? Out the back, over 6,000 reshares and saves, and I'm like, okay, I gotta sit down and make this video. I have to sit down and make the long version of this video. So if you're not following me on social, go to Instagram, follow me there, and we're going to dive into these books I have for y'all today. Before we even get there, the reason why this book video is here, the reason why I am bringing you this book video is because we are officially 8 days away from the epic BIPOC Herbalism Conference that I am hosting virtually for you all. I am helping you all learn herbal medicine from around the world, Indigenous herbal medicine from cultures around the world. I'm helping you learn Jamaican herbal medicine, Haitian herbal medicine, Mexican herbal medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, African herbal medicine, Indonesian herbal medicine. Y'all, I am helping you learn all types of herbal medicine that's actually not found in these herbalism books. That's the great thing about this conference. This conference has over 15 different multicultural herbalists to teach you herbalism from their cultures. So if you want to join me virtually, the conference is virtual. You can watch from the comfort of your own home. Replays will be available if you cannot make it live. That's okay. Click the link in the description box to buy your ticket. Again, 8 days left. It's happening October 21st, and that's next Saturday. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Y'all, I really have a lot of books to get through, so I hope you have a snack. I hope you have your tea. Actually, let me get me some tea. Hold on. Okay, so the way I have this video set up is I'm going to show you videos or show you books from different cultures. I'm going to group the book in that culture just so that I'm not all over the place and just to help me remember and focus on that culture for that moment. So far I'm looking, I have tons and tons of books on the ground. So the Indigenous Herbalism books we're going to cover in this video include African herbalism as well as African American herbalism. We also have Mexican herbalism. We also have traditional Chinese herbalism and Jamaican herbal medicine. So I'm looking around, I think that's it. So keep in mind, this is not an exhaustive list of all of the books out there for medicine from different cultures. These are just my personal favorites, and these are also books that I dove into on my herbalism journey and cultures that I was inspired to learn more about. So let's get into the first culture, which is African American herbal medicine. So let me see how many books we got here. Okay, so these few right here, these are African American herbal medicine books, and the first book I'm going to talk about is this book right here, African American Herbal Medicine by Lucretia Van Dyke. And this book is special because it takes a dive into historic African American herbal medicine healers and from our history. And so you get to learn a little bit more about them. You also get to learn some recipes from our history as well. And it's a newer book. It was recently released within the past few years. So if you want to support a newer artist that takes a deep dive into where our medicine comes from in terms of African Americans and in terms of slavery medicine, this is a good book to start. So that's that book. So another book by an African American herbalist is this book, which is Spiritual Herbalism by Karen M. Rose. Now, if you are someone who you want to get to the deeper knowledge of herbalism, of the plants, and you want to connect more with your spiritual herbalism side, this is a great book to help you do that. This book is designed to really help you harness the power of the plants, the power of your chakras, and the power of creating magical spiritual healing blends. So this book also came out recently, I believe, if not this year, last year. And Karen Rose, it has a popular Instagram following on Instagram. So I believe her Instagram is Sacred Vibes Apothecary. So if you want to support another herbalist, okay, a new book author, go and buy her book. I'm realizing that you all can't see the actual book. Oh man, sorry. There's a light glaring, so you all can't see this. My bad. All right, next, I guess this is I guess I'm doing this in the order of newer authors, so books that were just released, which I think that it's important to support new authors. This book is by another African American herbalist. Her name is Ebony. Ebony, if I'm mispronouncing your name, my bad. Ebony George? Is that how you say it? Gorgay or George or none of the above. I'm not sure, but when I tell you Sis's Instagram is such a visual treasure, I always love her images and how she captures plants online. Her Instagram is Nettles and Bees. I'm not sure if that's exact spelling, but she has a way with pictures online and when she's showing her herbal concoctions. And so I've decided to know that she actually just released this book. She is a forager, and so she released a book on foraging for herbs, which I thought was genius. And I am not a newbie to foraging, but I'm still learning to identify plants in its environment now that I have 87 freaking acres of land. And so whenever somebody says foraging, I am going to pick it up. So this book is called Enchanted Foraging. Again, sorry, I'm so far away. Y'all can't see this. Enchanted Foraging, Wild Crafting for Herbal Remedies, Rituals, and Magical Life. So this book has herbs that you mainly can find foraging. And one thing I did wish is, again, Sis captures some beautiful photos on her Instagram. I wish she had those photos in this book. I actually bought this book expecting to find those photos, but she does have illustrated photos of the plants, which is okay, but I was hoping to see her beautiful images, but that's the only thing I'm like, man. But again, I love supporting Black artists, Black authors. So this book explains to you some of the most commonly foraged for herbs, where you can find it, how to identify it, and she also has some recipes in this book as well for your foraged finds. Next in lines of African American medicine is this book, African American Folk Healing by Stephanie Mitchen. So just like the African American Herbalism book, it takes a deep dive into African American folk healing, because you know that when the slaves were brought over here from Africa, they actually brought over a lot of our healing medicine, our healing seeds. They actually braided seeds into their hair and brought those seeds over here to America, and even had herb gardens on the plantation. And we practice a lot of our medicine from there over here. So this book takes a deep dive in some of our traditional healing folk practices. So make sure to grab this book if you want to learn more about African American folk healing. And you know what? I do not have this book right now. For some reason, it's not over here. Give me one second. Y'all, this book I actually left off of the Instagram reel. For some reason, I didn't think to grab it. But this book right here is called Working the Roots, Over 400 Years of Traditional African American Healing by Michelle Lee. This book, if you want to learn about 400 years of African American healing, there's interviews, stories. This is a collection of our knowledge of our history in this book. Pick this book up. I don't know how I left this off the list, y'all, but another amazing read. I tend to reread this during Black History Month. And along the same lines of African American medicine, you have this book, which is by Herbert Covey, African American Slave Medicine. So again, along the same lines of the last book, taking a deep dive into African American slave medicine. Y'all, I already been talking for like 17 minutes. Gosh. On your end, it's probably going to be 7 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to edit this down. But this is going to probably be a 30-minute video. So those are my favorite African American herbalism books. Now, let's get into African herbal medicine, African herbalism books. So I hope you see the reason why I'm doing it in this order. All right, so believe it or not, over 30% of herbs practiced in traditional Western medicine actually originate over in Africa. And that makes sense considering that a lot of herbs were brought over here by slaves, and a lot of slaves were brought over here to the Americas, and we brought with us our healing secrets and our healing knowledge. And along with the indigenous Americans who were already here, again, our medicine and their medicine makes up a lot of medicine practice in the US, a lot of herbal medicine practice in the US. So I have a lot of those books because that's where a lot of my interest is. I do have mixed indigenous Nigerian and Seminole heritage, so that's where a lot of my passion comes from. So let's get into some of these African books, y'all. Yoruba African medicine and religion was practiced a lot in West Africa by a wide group of people, and it honestly went beyond West Africa, and it's one of the more popular practice religions and form of medicine and healing out there. So that's where a lot of my studies have been focused on. So let's dive into those books. So the first couple books are going to actually help you learn more about the African religion that's practiced there. Typically, African religion and African herbal medicine is tied hand in hand together. And then some of them actually have actual rituals that were practiced as well. So this book, The Handbook of Yoruba Religious Concepts, this book right here, its focus more is on the religious concepts itself, but I think it's good to have a basic concept of the actual religion so you can understand the medicine which is tied to it. So next we have Orishas, Goddesses, and Voodoo Queens. Okay, so same as this book right here, this is heavy on concepts when it comes to African religion, but I believe this one also has some rituals and recipes. Yes, this one actually has recipes for you to practice a lot of the traditional rituals associated with African medicine, and I liked it. I liked it for the actual practical recipes as well. And then next, I forgot to say the author, sorry. It's by Lilith Dorsey. Next, we have one of my personal favorites. I actually like this one the most out of the ones that I mentioned to you, and this one is African Medicine, A Complete Guide to Yoruba Healing Science and African Herbal Remedies. And the reason why I like this book is because it was the first book on African medicine that I read. And this book, again, broke down Yoruba African medicine. It broke down the concepts and the religion. It broke down the religious concepts, as well as it provides you with the medicine that was practiced. You learn the healing remedies associated with Yoruba and African medicine, and it's a great foundational book. If you are looking for a book that dives into the foundation of Yoruba medicine and healing rituals, this book. One of my favorites. All right, this next book, again, along African medicine line, is Of Water and Spirit. I think I have this selfie light right here, so it's a glare, and that's the problem, is this glare is glaring. But this book it's Of Water and Spirit, Ritual Magic and Initiation into the Life of an African Shaman by Malidoma Patrice Som. And so a shaman is another word for a healer, but shaman was used to pretty much describe a lot of our traditional healers and herbalists and medicine women and medicine man, but was introduced later on. So this book talks about that, of how someone can become a shaman or a traditional African healer. And then a book that was an investment, y'all. Let me tell you, it was an investment, okay? And mainly because this book is expensive, y'all. It's expensive, okay? It's given a couple checks, not really. But this book was over $100. But when it comes to books as far as reference, books that you should have in your library to reference African books, this book called The Handbook of African Medicinal Plants, you should have this book, okay? It does have pictures, but it's only a section that has pictures, unfortunately. So what I wished is that the pictures were actually by all of the herbs. Some herbs, they have the African herb, but some herbs, they don't have the actual picture. And I'm like, well, what it look like? What it look like? But even still, it's a great resource to have, because again, a lot of herbs, over 30% of herbs originate in Africa. So I learned from this book so many herbs that I didn't know originated from Africa, like hibiscus, okay? Who knew that hibiscus originated in Africa? I didn't know that. All right, so next we're going to get into a culture that I have been drawn to. I'm not even sure why I'm drawn to it. Maybe I have, you know, some Mayan ancestry in me, but I have been particularly drawn to ancient Mayan healing and ancient Mayan medicinal practices. And it's amazing. I don't know if it's because the concepts are so easy to understand when it comes to me. Again, I process things a little differently than a normal person. So I find that Mayan healing is a lot easier to grasp. And I find that the practices are practical. They're very practical. And I just like learning about traditional and ancient Mayan healing. So I have a few books, a few books on Mayan healing. So we're gonna start with my latest read. I actually am still reading this book. I am not done with this book. When I tell you I'm loving this book right here, Cleansing Rites of Curanderismo. When I tell you I'm reading it right now, I'm reading the audio version of this book right now, and it's been a treasure. It's been such a delight to actually read. This book is by, I'm trying to see if I can get out of the glare. It's by Erica Buenaflor, and I love the audiobook. And I find when I actually bought the audiobook before I actually bought this book, and this book, the audiobook, which is the same book, this book breaks down the history of Yucatec Maya, the history of a lot of ancient Mayan healing, and it goes into limpias. Limpias are ancient cleansing rites that a lot of curanderos or curanderas use to practice healing and to cleanse your body of a lot of things, to cleanse a lot of different things. And so she goes into a lot of limpias in this book. And that's why I like it, because this book not only gives you the background, the history of it, it actually has practical, actual traditional rituals that are practiced. So it's really a foundation of ancient Mayan healing. Like, I love a good book that gives me a good ceremony. That's what I want to know. I want to know about the ceremonies and the rituals that were practiced in this book. I'm not done with it yet, but this book is not letting down, okay? Now, on the same lines of ancient Mayan healing, again, I told y'all when I've been drawn to Mayan healing, but along the lines, I have 3 other books These 3 books are by the same 3 authors. It is Rosita Alvigo. Now, Rosita Alvigo, let me disclaimer, okay? I typically only purchase books, or I try to only purchase books from people who are actually a part of that culture. I have an issue when I have a little issue when it comes to certain people who are not from the culture but appropriate, you know, the knowledge from someone else's culture. But however, I don't believe it's appropriation if you have deep appreciation from that culture. So that's why this author has made the list, because although she is not from the Mayan culture, she did do an extensive apprenticeship with a traditional Mayan curandero who actually taught her all of the knowledge that she has in these books. She's also lived in Mexico. These books are Message of the Gods, A Guide to Useful Plants of Belize. Belize is a beautiful place, beautiful place. If you want to go to Belize and learn about plants, I took this book to Belize when I went to go travel. Actually, no, I didn't take this book. I took these books, but found this book. Someone had it and I ended up buying it when I was there, or when I came back. And it was so useful as I was foraging through the woods, finding medicinal plants. It really helped me out with herb identification. So you see clear pictures. I'm a picture girl. I need me some pictures, okay? So this book is a Bible when it comes to plants. And a lot of these plants don't just grow in Belize. So it's really good to have when you are learning about Yucatec Mayan herbs. And so the 2 other books that she has is Rainforest Home Remedies and Rainforest Remedies, 100 Healing Herbs of Belize. I think I like this book more than I like this book. So this book does not have any actual pictures. It has more of illustrated pictures, and then it has brief remedies on how to use the herb, how the ancient Yucatec Mayans use the herb, and it gives you some recipes in there as well. It also talks about other ancient Yucatec Mayan healing remedies. So this one, as far as favorites, this one for identification, and this one just to learn a lot of brief remedies that the ancient Yucatec Mayans use. But y'all, that was before, okay, that was way before I actually found this book. Now this book I actually just purchased recently. It's Plants of the Mayan World. When I tell y'all, I just love me some Mayan culture. I love it. This book, the reason why I love this book, let me show y'all this right quick. Let me show y'all. Y'all, look at these pictures. Look at these pictures. These pictures are amazing. When I got this book, I literally sat and I looked through the book. I looked through this book like 5 times in one day. It's an easy read. So it literally is a book on Mayan plants. There are no recipes in this book. However, in the description, it does tell you how it was used traditionally by traditional Mayans. And I'll take that because it has pictures. I'll take it. If I would say, as far as Mayan, if you're interested in diving deep into the Mayan culture, I would get this book for sure. This book is also a little pricey, y'all. It was about $100 or so, but it was worth it because of the pictures. And then this book. And then this book, in that order. So this book, this focuses on Mexican medicine, which again, Yucatec Mayan medicine is practiced over in Mexico. Now, this book, I was hesitant about mentioning it, mainly because this book's focus is on the history of healers in the Mexican culture. So like the majority of the book is actual biographies of Mexican healers, and it has very little information on herbal medicine, and I didn't like that, honestly. I'm just like, okay, like you can give me the biography, but I also want to know, you know, what did they do? How did they practice? And that's the only downside that I disliked about this book. There's about 5 or 6 rituals that are mentioned in this book, but it's not a step-by-step guide. It is saying how that healer used those rituals. So again, it's not a deep dive, all right, but still worth having on your list. This book is by Alicio Chio Torres. Alicio Chio Torres. All right, y'all, I got about 10 books left and half a battery. So we're going to try to breeze through the rest of these books. So the next culture of medicine we're going to talk about is Jamaican herbal medicine. And the two books I have from that culture is this one, Ja Herbs, 40 Jamaican Medicinal Herbs by Kuku Abba. And then this book right here is Healing Herbs of Jamaica by Evelyn Harris. So two books. This one is more of, y'all, this book actually got water on it. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. If you see it, it's like all mildewy, but I will still keep it. But I like this book because we love actual pictures, okay? And this book I like because it gives you the actual name, the scientific name, the Jamaican name, as well as a brief description, parts used, traditional uses, modern uses, the plant, chemical, and other uses. So this one honestly is more of a scientific play, is more of a scientific research-based book. This book also has pictures. It gives you scientific name, the common name, also traditional uses. However, I find that this book gives a little bit more information, but I do think that these are two great books, two great companions to have if you want to dive into Jamaican herbal medicine. So, you know, I love me some pictures. All right, so next we're going to dive into traditional Chinese medicine. This book right here is called Healing Herbal Soups by Rose Chung and Guinevere Wong. And I like this book because it is practical recipes and soups that you can make using traditional Chinese herbs. So there's other ways to get your herbs. Y'all can make them and drink them in soups. That is an infusion, okay? Most of the time a decoction. And so I love this because, again, it's practical ways in order to incorporate traditional Chinese medicine. Now, I do think that before you start incorporating traditional Chinese medicine into your diet, that you need to understand the traditional Chinese concepts. And then these books have been amazing. These two books, you have the Pocket Handbook of Chinese Herbal Medicine, and then the Pocket Handbook of Chinese Herbal Prescriptions. These two very simple books that help you understand traditional Chinese concepts and go straight into the plant, the name, the plant category, and this one actually gives you herbal prescriptions. So it gives you traditional Chinese recipes that you can actually use. And so it's a handbook if you want to incorporate traditional Chinese medicine into your practice. This is a good go-to to be able to have formulations, already formulated formulations in this book. It's super great for anybody to have, no matter if you're practicing at the doctor level or the herbal level. These are great companions. Now, lastly, we are going to talk about indigenous medicine. That's indigenous over here to the Americas, and that is Native American medicine. Now, I mentioned before that I have mixed indigenous heritage. I have mixed indigenous Nigerian and Seminole heritage. And so on my journey to learn more about herbal medicine, I make sure to tap into my indigenous roots, my native roots. And it has been a little harder to find books because a lot of natives are private about their culture, rightly so. A lot of native knowledge has been appropriated and taken without proper reference and without respect, and that's why it's very hard to find books actually written by indigenous people, by Native American people. Any book that, majority of the books that you buy on Amazon are by non-indigenous folks. They are actually by people who have appropriated that culture, and they take it from that culture and put it in the form of a book, and Native Americans are not monetizing off of those books. So I would encourage you, if you're looking for a book that is on Native American medicine. I think I'm going to plug a website on the screen. They have books that are specifically from Native American authors, and you can purchase the book directly from them versus going on Amazon. I actually only found two books on Amazon that was actually by a Native person, which is sad. That's sad. And so this book right here, the person who wrote this book, she's of European, she's mixed indigenous, so she's of European and Native American descent. She has Native heritage and went on a journey to learn more about her heritage and her, y'all, my strap keep falling off, my bad. She went on a journey to learn more about her culture. And so this book is a collection of knowledge that she's learned on her journey to learn more about her heritage. This one you can actually find on Amazon. For more authentic books on Native American medicine, I recommend this book, Plants of Power, Native American Ceremony and Uses of Sacred Plants by Alfred Savinelli. I think that's how you say his name. So this book right here is a guide to sacred plants traditionally used by Native Americans and other indigenous cultures. And this book is actually available on the website nativevoices.com. I'm not sure if that's the actual website. I'm gonna plug it on the screen. But this is, again, a good book because it goes into, I'm looking through it right now, it goes into those plants. Does this book have recipes? I don't think this book has recipes. However, it does go a lot into the plants. These four books I actually purchased all from that website I just told you about. They're all upside down. I'm sorry, y'all. And so these books cover different Native American tribes. This one is Cherokee plants. This one right here, Cherokee plants and their uses by Paul B. Hamel and Mary U. Shitowski. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a very quick read. These are very, very quick reads. This one is a very simple book. It literally just gives you the plant and how it's used. So it's no nonsense. It literally just gives you the plants that the Cherokee use. It does not have any recipes in it. It doesn't have any pictures. So take that as you may. This book right here, Native Plants, Native Healing, Traditional Muskegee Way by Tismal Crow. Now, I do like this book. This book I actually like more than this book right here, and that's mainly because it gives you the herbs. So like you have St. John's wort. It gives you the doctrine of signatures. If you're familiar with the doctrine of signatures, drop it in the description box. But pretty much the doctrine of signatures is how Native people were able to look at the plant, whether it be its color or its shape, and tell what it was used, what it's used for, what body part. They can look at the plant and tell you that all by the plant. And so it incorporates the doctrine of signatures. It also incorporates some rituals that were used by it. And it also has uses in it. And then I have two more books, American Indian Cooking and Herb Lore. Quick read of some quick Native American recipes. These recipes are very rustic, okay? We're talking some pan-seared squirrel, all right? Some braised venison. There's also some tea recipes in here too, which I do love. It's literally like 10 pages. It's literally like 30 pages. It's not a thick book at all. And then this last book is Sacred Smoke, The Ancient Art of Smudging for Modern Times. Now, remember I was telling you, the author is Harvest McCampbell. Now, remember I was telling you about cultural practices that have been appropriated. Smudging is actually one of those practices. Believe it or not, smudging is actually a sacred practice that is sacred to Native American culture. But we don't know that. A lot of us just take our sage smudge stick and walk around a house cleansing everything. And a lot of indigenous folks, they take issue to that, because again, it is a sacred practice that they use particularly for rituals and for certain rituals, and it is an appropriated practice, so much so that sage is being over harvested. So please be mindful when you do smudge. Try to look up the history or purchase this book to learn more about smudging and know why you're doing it, and not because it's trendy or you see it on Instagram. But that's it, y'all. We have got through all of the books with one bar on my camera lab. We have got through all the books. So give this video a thumbs up, y'all. I never say that in any of my videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Let's push it through the algorithm to bring back the folks who forgot about me, okay? The more you like this video, the more this video will be shown to other people who may have forgotten that their favorite herbalists exist. Make sure to grab your tickets to the BIPOC Herbalism Conference. The conference is only $47. For less than the price of a lot of these books, you can come to this conference and hear herbal knowledge that has been passed down from generations to generation, from a lot of people, from these cultures that I mentioned, from these books in this video. If you have a book, if you have any of these books, drop down in the description box and let me know which book do you have, which book have you read, which book is your favorite. And that's it, y'all. That is all I have for you all today. As always, don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay blessed. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.